Oh, hi.
Look how important he is in his own little office
good boy.
chair. He's here for the Black Friday Lifeline.
You said you got a sweater. Let me pull a thread.
Please don't. Oh, free boops. Happy Friday, guys. We are 1 week out from Black Friday, which in just a few minutes, you're going to find out why that's so significant and why you should absolutely be preparing for Black Friday, even if you're not hosting a Black Friday sale. But we'll get into that in just a minute. Give everybody a few minutes to join us. Looks like we've already got 65, so that's awesome. Mark and I did our Thanksgiving shopping today.
Yes.
We woke up early. Well, we have to wake up early because we have a child. But we woke up early and we went and got all of our food. So we're having our Thanksgiving tomorrow. Because we go to his grandma's for actual Thanksgiving. Let me go ahead and
present.
Yeah, start this up. I think that because today is our annual Black Friday Lifeline, this is when you guys can pretty much ask us anything about Black Friday preparations, holiday preparations, your marketing preparations. We will answer questions towards the end. We don't have as much to present today as we've had over the last few weeks, because I really wanted to leave the doors open for you guys to get the help that you need. So it's more of a live coaching call as opposed to a webinar, though it is Webvember. So Mr. Moore, would you like to go ahead and share our screen?
There we go.
So I've added some more things to our Webvember schedule because technically it will be going into December. Obviously today, November 22nd, is our Black Friday Lifeline. But if you missed any of the webinars that we've had, we talked about time optimization. We talked about healthy business mindsets. We talked about how Etsy search ranking works. These are all still on my channel. You can go back and watch the replays. But next week on Black Friday, since hopefully you guys are, in the mood for your Etsy shops, maybe you're eating some leftover Thanksgiving pie and drinking some coffee and packing some orders. We are also going to be hosting our Brand Planet webinar. This is my biggest and most popular webinar. It's probably the best representation of the type of content that you can expect from the Handmade Alpha Academy. We kind of brushed the surface of brand psychology in that one. And this isn't just about branding like a logo. This is actually the psychology of building a brand and how you can make that brand memorable in the eyes of your ideal target customers. So that's going to be in exactly 1 week on Black Friday. December 1st, obviously Handmade Alpha Academy, that'll be opening for the first time in 6 months. So that's exciting. You'll have 10 days to enroll. We'll be opening it on December 1st, and then we're going to be closing it on the night of the 10th. So towards the end, if you have any questions about my coaching program, live streams are the best time to ask because I much prefer being able to answer them here live as opposed to typing out an email. I will answer an email if you'd prefer to ask me privately. You can reply to any of the emails I've sent you or just send me an email at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com. But if we can answer those in person, I would prefer to do that anyway. And then December 2nd through the 6th, in celebration of HAA opening for the season, every single day from Monday through Friday, we'll be having our critique week, which we do twice a year. So for everybody who loves our shop critique sessions, we try to do those once every 2 months, but twice a year we do an entire week of critiques, Monday through Friday, for 1 hour each day, starting at noon Eastern. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And even if you don't, plan to join Handmade Alpha Academy, obviously we do that to raise awareness for HAA. But we also host that week of critiques and all of the webinars that we've been hosting so far in celebration of our annual charity for St. Jude. Can somebody let me know? I know that somebody
donated.
Thank you to the anonymous person who donated. Can someone let me know in what are we at?
5,153.
All right. Yay. I want to try to get it to 7 by the end of December. So please consider donating. I think we've done phenomenal so far. Over $5,000 is awesome. But there's a donate button directly below the chat. If you're watching the replay, it'll just kind of be off to the right side of the screen. And that money goes directly to St. Jude. So please consider donating. Consider hanging out for Critique Week. If you know any other Etsy sellers or you have friends in the Etsy community, feel free to encourage them to come to Critique Week. That way we can try to raise that. I want to hit $7,000. I think that that's a pretty realistic goal when we've already reached 5,000. So let's try to get it to 7. I know you guys said 10, but I think that 10 might be pushing it. But this is great because you know what our goal was last year? 1,000.
Good.
Yeah, our goal last year was 1,000. So the fact that we're at 5,000 this year, we're doing really well. Also, guys, in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, which is linked down below in the video description, we have a pinned thread that we're doing this year called our Alpha Angels Holiday Initiative. And basically, if you need financial help this holiday season, if you need help buying gifts for your children, or if you need essentials, household essentials, you can post a wish list of items. We are encouraging, $30 to $40, because after you surpass $40, it becomes a little harder for someone to complete your wish list. But basically, you post your wish list of items if you need that help. And then we also need Alpha Angels. These are those who are the community members who are willing to spend $30 to $40 helping someone for the holidays and buying their wish list for them. So it's a really nice thing that we had going back and forth. There have been, I don't think right now there are any wish lists that haven't been purchased. There might be a couple though. So if anyone wants to, join that, if we have anybody who wants to be an Alpha Angel this year, consider going in there and at least comment on the thread, comment, following. That way you can kind of keep an eye on it and see when someone posts. But as of right now, it's been fantastic. And I think that pretty much everybody has had their wish lists granted. So I appreciate you guys so much. Okay, I think that is it. So let's get into our good little shindig. We've spiced it up this year. We've been doing the Etsy Black Friday Lifeline now for, I think, about 5 years. Sorry, Bubbers is causing trouble. That's why Mark is distracted.
If he doesn't stop, I'll take him upstairs.
Yeah, take him upstairs.
I'm not going to do that right now.
Okay. Our Black Friday Lifeline, we've been doing these every year for about 5 years now, and they're always so much fun. But this year, I decided to spice it up with some data because things have been crazy. Like first we had the pandemic, right? And the pandemic caused more people to shop on Etsy than ever before. If you look at Etsy, pre-pandemic, pandemic, and then post-pandemic, there's just this massive spike during the pandemic because people were stuck in their house and a lot of them were doing, sending gifts, decorating, just spending stimulus checks, and we saw so much spending on Etsy. It was fantastic. And everybody who joined Etsy around that time was like, wow, Etsy's amazing. But then after the pandemic, what goes up must come down. And as things went down, a lot of those new sellers who had just joined during the pandemic thought like, oh my God, what happened? It's like my traffic died overnight. And Etsy kind of resumed this normal pattern. And then, but since then, because I think so many sellers saw all this success that came from the pandemic after the fact, I think that we had a lot more awareness of Etsy. And because of that, more sellers started joining the platform and it became more widely known. And people who relied on Etsy for shopping are now saying, oh, maybe I'll give that a try. And Etsy grew to by several million sellers over the course of just 2 years. So when it comes to analyzing Black Friday data in particular, it's been very hard because we've only had 2 years worth of data that wasn't impacted by pandemic traffic. And then when we look before the pandemic, what we're seeing is a marketplace with less shoppers, because a lot of people started shopping online for the very first time during the pandemic. I don't know about you, but we had grandparents and, just older family members who finally had the courage to try online shopping for the first time. So what we're seeing is a lot more competition, unfortunately, but we're also seeing a lot more shoppers. Now, obviously, the rest of the year, or the earlier part of the year, we've seen a dip unlike we've seen ever. Etsy seeing a huge dip, the worst it's been since before the pandemic, because people are having hard times. I even made, a couple of videos about how hard things are right now financially for people. But what we've analyzed and what our shoppers have basically said is that, and I wish I remember the name of this report. I have a video on it, but there was this fantastic report where it was talking about the number one reason that people weren't spending right now. And all of them say that, it's financial discomfort. However, they will still be shopping for the holidays because holiday gifts have to be purchased. It's almost similar to, paying off debt. It's like something you have to do. You have to buy your holiday gifts. So where they might not be splurging for themselves throughout the year, they're not buying as much for themselves. They have to buy for the holidays, which is why Black Friday we expect to be fantastic this year on Etsy, just like it has every other year. So historically on Etsy, November is always Etsy's highest traffic month of the year, no matter what. If you look at any past month, and it's not just Etsy, all e-commerce where, gifts are purchased, you see a massive spike in November, with December closely following that. I'm going to guess that the next would be probably October for those people who are shopping earlier and earlier. But during the summer, during the spring, things are very slow. Mm-hmm. So look at this graph.
I hate you.
I did that just for you.
I know you did.
I did it just for you.
Anyway.
Okay. Leave a wolf emoji in the chat if you laughed. Okay, let's actually look at this graph. Sorry, Nickelback. I won't sing the song. I don't want to get demonetized by YouTube here.
Nickelback.
So this is our sales comparison from 2022 and 2023 on Etsy. And you see that big spike? That is just Black Friday. So when I talked about November being the highest volume sales period of the year, okay, we see that. But look at Black Friday on its own. A lot of people say, oh, should I do Black Friday or Cyber Monday? If you got to pick between the two, do Black Friday, because it is the day when most people are shopping on Etsy. And last year was better than 2022, which is crazy because 2022, we were still kind of riding on that post-pandemic traffic. So 2023 last year ended up being even better.
Oh, because Etsy's growing.
Right, exactly.
I mean, regardless of how it's performing, it's growing.
And we can see in all categories, even in shoes, which is apparently the highest, sales category.
A lot of families buy new shoes for the year at Christmas time. My family was the same way. I would get my new shoes every year at Christmas.
Yeah, I'm just saying overall that shoes is the lowest.
Mm-hmm. But even with shoes in December, that's my point is people buy shoes for the holidays.
Every single category, November is our highest category. Home and living, I mean, look at that spike for home and living. That is insane.
Yep. Trinkets and pillows and whatever else.
Decor and gifts. And then jewelry, obviously it's a great choice as a gift. So jewelry also rises in November. Paper and party supplies, again, Christmas parties, that makes sense. Clothing spikes up, that makes sense. Buying things for gifts, craft supplies and tools, that makes sense. I mean, these all make sense. It's either gifts or things for those preparations. It's kind of odd that weddings are so low. I would think that there's more weddings around the holidays, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't know anything about weddings.
I'm not sure. A lot of people are it's like bougie about their weddings. They buy name brand stuff and
Yeah, that.
Try to spend as much money as they possibly can.
All right. So if you guys haven't seen, 2 days ago, eRank rebranded. So if you go to erank.com and it looks all different, I promise we haven't been hijacked. We have a new aesthetic. I am quite sad about it because
I prefer the blue.
you guys might not know this, but the blue and the cartoon characters, and that branding that we had, that was when I first started working at eRank. I led eRank's rebrand from Etsy Rank to eRank. So yes, I'm a little sad to see them go. But I think that eRank, we've grown so much and we needed a fresh new look.
Trying to look a little more modern and a little more in the flow. It definitely looks a lot like what most corporate companies look like now.
So take a look at it if you haven't seen it. And if any tools work wonky, we're working through some updates. A couple things broke, so the team has just been working nonstop. But anyway, I'm going to give you guys a teaser of something that has not been released yet. And I'm only showing you one survey, one slide from our annual buyer survey, because on Tuesday, I'm going to have a whole video analyzing our annual buyer survey. So basically over at eRank, Anthony forks up a bunch of money to run this amazing survey that goes out to people who recently made a purchase on Etsy. So it's not other sellers. These are people who recently bought something on Etsy, and then they opt to participate in this survey. And we ask them questions that we want to know from buyers' perspectives. Things like, what would turn you off from buying from an Etsy shop? Or what's the most important thing to you that helps you make a decision about buying from an Etsy shop? Would you buy from an Etsy shop who ships from another country? All amazing questions. Today, there was even one about asking, during this survey, and I'll be covering it in my video on Tuesday, we even asked them how they feel about products made using AI. So we actually have some data.
Some actual like physical data. That's good.
But you got to watch my video on Tuesday, and then there will be a full report with even more data from eRank. We do this every single year. But you guys get to see one slide, just one, just a little teeny tiny taste of this thing.
I'd be interested to see how the data on AI evolves. I hope we continue to
Over
do
time.
this, because it becomes it becomes a little more dystopic year over year with what it's capable of doing. It's kind of scary.
So this will be every year we run this survey. So I'm sure we'll leave that question on there to see how it changes. But the one slide you get to see today, we ask them, are you planning to shop on Etsy for Black Friday and Cyber Monday? 74.3% said yes. 25.7% said no. We asked the 25.7% why they said no. And most of them said either financial troubles, which that's understandable. You spend a little bit more money when you're shopping on Etsy. So those who are really pinching pennies, they're going to be, probably shopping elsewhere. And the others, there were quite a few who said that they didn't know it was an option. They didn't know that Etsy did big Black Friday sales, but now they have that awareness. So I think that this is amazing. Now, keeping in mind that these are people who they had just bought something on Etsy when they got this survey. So they're already gung-ho about Etsy, and they're past Etsy customers. But this is a fantastic sign that people understand that Etsy is a good place to look for Black Friday deals. And when we know that it's going to be Etsy's highest volume traffic day of the entire year, and that 74.3% of these, Etsy shoppers all said that they're going to come back, why wouldn't you prepare for more traffic, even if you're not running a sale? You don't have to be running a sale, because people are going to be shopping anyway. And if they want something badly enough and they see it's not on sale, they're still going to buy it. However, I do still encourage you to have a sale, because this can create brand loyalty. It can really, really help you to stand out in search pages when customers are actually filtering their search results by items on sale. You have a higher chance of getting featured in Etsy's, sales categories if you're opting in for their cyber sale, which started 2 days ago, I believe. 2 days. or did it start on I think it started on Tuesday. Either way, if you're participating in that, then you're showing up in those search pages. So let's talk a little bit about how to actually get ready for Black Friday, which is in 1 week. I'll be honest, I would start preparing this weekend. I would just get it done because people have already started. I've already started Black Friday shopping because there are tons of websites. I mean, Amazon's already they've got all their Black Friday deals up already. So people are in this mindset. So first, you need to set your sale up in your Etsy back end under your marketing tab. Now, everybody always asks what the best percentage is. Here's your rule of thumb. It's quite, easy to remember, but feel free to write it down. If your item is under $100, always make sure that your sale's over 15%. And think about that. When you are shopping, if you see like a 10% off sale for, something that costs $20, do you really care if the $20 item's 10% off? It's like, it's nice, but it's not anything that's going to astound them. Anything over 15%, once you start hitting, 20%, 25%, that's when people start to pay attention, right? That's when people start to really take notice. So make sure, obviously, you should be pricing high enough to accommodate sales. If you are selling items under $100 and you can't accommodate a 15% off sale or a 20% off sale, you're probably not pricing high enough, because you should definitely try to price with sales and discounts in mind, even if you're only doing them once a year. And if there was ever a time to do them, it's during Black Friday. Because those sales and good reviews are also going to help boost you up in search pages, because they're going to contribute to your listing quality scores. That can help you gain momentum. That can help your listings to rank higher at the sacrifice of having, some of your items on sale. Again, just making sure that you're pricing high enough to accommodate those sales. So go ahead and get your sale set up. I would also recommend starting it early. Here's the thing. You want to beat out these major advertisers on social media if you've got an email list, because when Black Friday hits, they're all going to be sending emails. They're all going to be paying big bucks for advertising. They're all going to be posting on social, and you're going to be competing with all of those. So I would recommend starting your sale as early as possible. You could start it whenever, but I've always started mine on Thanksgiving night. Honestly, I dare say that for smaller sellers, because with Thanksgiving night, with my first shop, my jewelry shop, I would sell out that first night. I would recommend, honestly, starting it in the next few days, like Monday, Tuesday, early in the week, because people are already looking for these deals, and Etsy's already running their cyber sale. So you want to make sure that you're beating out those advertisers. You want to make sure that you're beating out those spots on social media. And if you have an email list, which I definitely hope that you do, you want to make sure that your email is coming in before all of those Black Friday emails send out on Friday morning. And then obviously advertise everywhere, but don't forget social media link etiquette. I cannot tell you how many of you I follow on Instagram, and you're putting links in your Instagram captions.
They're not usable.
You can't do anything with them. You can't even copy them. You can't click them. You can't copy them. You can't visit them. There's nothing that you can do. The only way I could visit that link is if I memorized it and typed it in somewhere.
Yeah, manually typed it in.
Or if I got on my desktop computer and used my mouse and highlighted that URL and pasted it up into my browser. There's no way to click on those links. The best thing that you can do at this point is post some Instagram stories with your links. And then when you are, because you have the option to add a link sticker to your story, and then when you're making your static posts or your posts in your feed, you can say something like, check out my stories to shop now. Then you don't have to use the words link in bio, which apparently Instagram doesn't like anymore. Alternatively, you can tell them link in bio. Apparently Instagram doesn't care for it, but I've not really seen a significant difference in engagement on my own Instagram. I've tested saying link in bio versus, link in stories and yada, yada. Not seeing a huge change, but Either way, you need to make sure that you're directing them somewhere where they can click on a link, because you can't just offer it to them. Alternatively, you can do what I've been doing for the last few months. It does cost a little bit of money, but I think it's been pretty well worth it. All of the Instagram marketing gurus are recommending that you get a ManyChat subscription, like MANY chat, ManyChat. ManyChat will basically give them the option to comment a code word that you give them, and then it will send an automatic reply to them with the link. So if you're selling, if you're having a sale, you could say, comment the word sale for, a coupon link. And then you can actually generate a link within Etsy with the coupon already attached, so that they don't have to enter a coupon code. It will automatically apply that sale to anything they add to their cart from your shop, because you've sent them that custom link. That's in your sales and marketing's tab. But this is what all the gurus are saying to do right now. I've been testing it. You guys have seen for, the Friday bean, I say comment the word coffee and I'll DM you a link to the stream. Comment the word wolf and I'll send you details about Handmade Alpha Academy. Comment the word noodle and I'll send you my free Etsy SEOodles toolbox. It's working pretty well. So it does cost money. I can't remember how much, but it's been worth it for me personally. If you get a lot of traffic on social media and you're to the point where you can afford it, I'm not sponsored or anything, but I do think that it's pretty useful. But either way, just don't paste your links. Make sure that you are directing people to where they can click your link, which is either in your bio on Instagram or within a story. Next, don't be me. Count your stock. Mark and I started my first business 12 years ago, selling jewelry. And as you guys probably know already, that shop was insanely successful. And everything sold out to the point where I couldn't keep up. It was actually difficult. And, when I got hired by E-Rank and stuff, it just wasn't a realistic business model for me. We had a bunch of problems with our suppliers. Anyway, point being is that we couldn't keep that shop stocked. We made $10,000, I think, the last Black Friday that we ran, right?
No, it was more than that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like 24, 25.
Yeah, 24, 25.
We were working, our last Black Friday that we did, we were working for 2 weeks, like 16-hour days.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we quit. It was too much on top of this.
And I so foolishly did not count my stock, because I was sure. I'm like, if I know how many necklaces of each necklace everybody's ordered up until this point, I've not miscounted. I was positive that everything was in order. Everything was organized. I was wrong. And we had to message several customers and let them know that one of the items that they'd ordered.
Why did that turn off?
I don't know. That one of the items that they'd ordered was apparently not in stock. And nobody was mad. Thankfully, I didn't, we refunded those items or swapped them if they wanted something else. We let them pick an item that was a little more expensive than what they paid. But either way, even if you're sure, count your stock. And if you're POD, which I am now, you need to make sure that your items are in stock. You need to make sure that things have not run out of stock. And this includes color variations. Printify will email you if an entire item, like, for example, if you're using the spoke wrapping paper, that's gone. That's gone for the whole season. They're not going to have any more of that. So that's
I don't think they're ever intending on replacing it. I think that's what that had said, right?
No.
They had no intention of...
No, not before the holidays, I don't think.
I got you.
I think it's just, well, I maybe I misread it. But either way, when we get an email when a whole item disappears, but when a variant disappears, so if you're offering like black shirts and white shirts and all the black shirts disappear, those don't just automatically disappear from your shop. You've got to go in every single day and make sure that your variants are in stock, and it's a pain in the butt and you got to do it by hand, but make sure you're doing that over the holidays. Prepare your packaging. Hey, ask the kids to help. It's not child labor, right? I mean, it's a great way to get them involved in your business, and you can make it a game. I always had my daughter stamp my envelopes. I had a little envelope or a stamp for my bubble mailers that said handmade by, and then I could sign my name on a little line. And she loved it. She had fun stamping all my envelopes. But we did that in the days leading up to Black Friday, because when it came to actually packing orders, I mean, Mark and I were already doing that for 16 hours straight. Those little tiny things like cutting ribbon, cutting up our gift wrap ahead of time.
Dude, they add up. Just do it.
Yeah, just getting everything ready to go ahead of time makes life so much easier.
Especially if you're a high volume seller. It's a little different for you lower volume guys that are kind of new or your business quite hasn't picked up yet. But for high volume sellers, dude, be prepared because you never know.
Yeah, I mean, we were shipping like 600 items, you know? I mean, most of those were people buying in bulk because they would buy a piece of jewelry for the entire family. So we'd have, you know, we actually had those giant bubble mailers that we would stuff full because people would buy so many. But yeah, just make sure that your packaging is ready to go ahead of time. This is a big one. A lot of you guys have said, is it even worth it to run a sale? Because what I sell is not a giftable item. Nobody's going to buy my item as a gift for the holidays. That is not an issue. People bulk buy around Black Friday when it comes to the things that they need as well. It's not just the items that they're gifting. It's the items that they're just waiting to buy until there's a possibility of those items going on sale. So maybe they go to Etsy for gifts, but then they realize that they want to look for something for themselves. For example, if we go over to Amazon, they just started their Black Friday sale day before. These are the items that are on the top of the Black Friday sales list. It's toilet paper and paper towels and, let's see, diapers and trash bags.
Household essentials.
Household essentials. These are all items that are on sale right now. So don't...
Y'all are having babies right now? Y'all are crazy.
Oh, all them babies. All them babies. Hey, if you've got babies, go get some diapers from Amazon because apparently they have some good diaper sales. But with that in mind, butt diapers, don't be afraid to list your items on sale. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you don't make any sales. There's no other worst case scenario. You waste a little time and you don't make any money, but that's not that big a deal, right? If that's the worst case scenario, just go for it. Put your deadlines everywhere. If you think you are putting them in too many places, I promise you, you're not, because people are still going to miss them. Put them literally everywhere in all of your listings. I just
CYA.
I just put mine in my banner and in my listing photos. So you know, you can put them right on your visible elements like your banner and listing photos, but you can also put them in your listing description, your FAQs, your shop announcement. And if someone orders after your deadline, just send them a message that says something like, you know, hey, Bob, I always use Bob. Hey, Bob, I noticed that you placed your order after my guaranteed holiday shipping deadline. I will be getting your package out as soon as possible, but unfortunately, I cannot guarantee that it'll arrive by the 25th. If you needed this before the 25th, I would be happy to cancel your order. Please let me know within the next 24 hours. And in the meantime, I'll be packaging it.
No political comments, please.
That way, they know that they have the option to cancel, and it's better for them to cancel their order and for you to administer a refund, because that's not going to penalize you at all. It's better to do that than have them be upset and leave a bad review, because that bad review will have a lasting negative impact on your shop. Big fat butt. Like,
my favorite.
Look at that big butt. All right, this is my annual disclaimer, and then we'll get into our questions. Black Friday is not a miracle. I know that there's a lot of people every year who post their success stories, and we've got, you know, people who make thousands of dollars on Black Friday. They sell out. They do fantastic. But then there's the sellers who don't make any sales and they feel like they've been gypped. They think that nobody wanted their items. They feel really sad. They post in our group and they're so upset because they've gained this impression that Black Friday is a day when everybody gets sales. And unfortunately, that's not the case. The people who make sales on Black Friday are typically the ones who spent months and months and months building momentum. advertising, external marketing, building an email list, building brand connections, working on their SEO. This is why I always really push growth in the summer when things are slow, social media growth, external marketing, driving your own traffic, because all of that pays off around holiday time. So if you're new, or if you're someone who, isn't already a large seller, absolutely still prepare. Again, there's the worst thing that can happen is you don't make any money, but you've gained some experience here. Use this as an opportunity to learn, to observe, to do a bit of your own Etsy shopping, because you can learn a lot just from shopping around for the holidays. Use this as an opportunity to analyze some of your data. If you've got your Google Analytics account connected to your eRank account, connect that to our traffic stats tool. That will ensure that you're getting really great data right on your dashboard and throughout some of our other listing tools. There's so much that you can learn from Black Friday, but we want to try to keep this positive. I do get really bummed out around Black Friday because there are always, people in the group who are discouraged, and it makes it hard for those who are doing well because, they're kind of nervous to post, I think, because they're afraid that they'll upset somebody. But it should be a celebration because no matter what, you're still learning something amazing. And like I said, there's just so much that you can learn from others. So don't just, hyper focus on your own shop. Observe what other sellers in your industry and even alphas in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community. Observe what they're doing. So guys, I think that we're good to answer some questions, but please, before you go, if you end up, not sticking around for questions, consider donating to our live stream charity. We have over $5,000 for St. Jude. We are doing so fantastic. I'd love to see us get to 7 by the end of December. But yeah, oh, and also Handmade Alpha Academy, my self-paced coaching program, that's going to be opening for the first time in 6 months on December 1st. If you guys go to the link down below, if you expand out the video description, there is a link where you can learn more about the program. You can watch some video testimonials from our students. There's plenty of students in the chat. If you have questions for them, you can also chat amongst yourself. But if you have a question about the Handmade Alpha Academy and, what it's like in there, what you get, feel free to let me know. But yeah, did we have any questions?
No, yeah, we had a couple of questions. And you guys are you guys don't have to repeat. I'm gonna go through the whole chat. There hasn't been enough for it to go away.
Okay.
We did have quite a few people talking about the new eRank change. It's mostly I don't like it. There's a few people that like it, but it's mostly people who preferred the original. A lot of people saying that they're not a fan of the E specifically. Right. And I'm not a fan of the E either. And the reason for that being that because it's such a dramatic difference from the text, all you see is rank and the E kind of gets lost if you're not looking for it. So it kind of feels weird. And I agree, I don't like the white.
Oh, that we're working on dark mode right now. We know that it's overwhelming when you log in. They're currently working on dark mode. I didn't have anything to do with this particular rebrand other than giving my opinion on it. So
why one click on Etsy ads cost different? Sometimes it's 11 cents, sometimes it's 45 cents per click because you're competing with other people who are trying to rank for the same keywords.
Exactly.
So if let's say it's Black Friday and it's a high holiday day and you've set your maximum at 50 cents and somebody else is set theirs at $1.50, you're already at a disadvantage for that particular keyword. But if everybody's between like 10 cents and 50 cents and yours happens to be 50 cents and the next guy below you's 40 cents, then you're paying that extra in order to rank above them in search. That's just kind of how it works.
Let's see.
It's okay. It's going to take me a while because there's quite a few.
Oh, that's okay.
If I hope
they're all here.
Yeah, there's tons of people here.
Holly Hobbyist.
If you want to add new listings for Black Friday, when would be the best time to list
now?
It? Now,
right now,
absolutely now.
Right now, as soon as possible. Do it right now. It's already late.
Would it get the normal boost even if it's during the BFCM?
Yes, it's going to get a boost, but you have to think about everybody else who is also going to be competing in search at that time, who are also going to be like adding new listings at that time. It would be better to just get that stuff listed now because on the off chance that, you get visibility right away, and you are able to accumulate more of a listing quality score, that's going to help you a lot more. Getting that listing quality score by hopefully making a sale, or, you know, even getting a review in that short amount of time, or being discovered organically in search and getting favorites. Those things are going to positively contribute to your overall search ranking. So get those listed as soon as possible. I definitely wouldn't wait.
If someone's built 30% extra into their prices to accommodate sales while still making money, won't customers think that full price is the seller is charging too much? So it depends on the product. There's a pretty dramatic difference between a product that costs $10 being 30% off and a product that costs $100 being 30% off. Not everyone in every industry is going to be able to accommodate 30%. That's far too high for a lot of people. If you sell, let's say you make tables or you make expensive jewelry that's $300, $400, $500, chances are you probably can't accommodate a 30% sale. A 10% is probably going to be your max, right?
It's also how you communicate it. So in my shop, a lot of my pendants ran, I mean, some of them ran for $150 to $200. And I always did a 30% off sale plus a 30% double dip back when the Etsy on sale app was a thing. It's not anymore, so you can't do double dips. But basically, I had this really cool psychology tactic a couple years ago. Many of you probably used it. Let me know. Shout out to double dipping, RIP. Type RIP in the chat for double dipping if you miss it. But I would run a 30% off sale in my shop. This is the universal sale that everybody browsing on Etsy would get. And then my VIPs, the members of my Facebook group, the members, you know, all my community members on my email list, they would be emailed an additional 30% off coupon code that they could then stack onto my 30% off sale. You can't stack coupons on Etsy. You could only do it with the Etsy on sale app, and they went out of business. But in the customer's brain, you know, 30 plus 30, psychologically, it's like, oh, it's 60. It's not 60. It's 30% off, and then 30% off of the total after the 30% off, which equated to, it wasn't 30, it was closer to, what was the
I can't remember.
Like closer to like 40% off or
something. It's like 37, 38, something like that.
Mathy people, let us know.
Somebody said RIP.
Yeah, RIP, double dips. But my community, they were like a cult following, right? So I wasn't devaluing my product because in my advertising, they knew me, they knew my daughter, they knew, like, you know, oh, Starla's, you know, cooking her dinner for Thanksgiving and preparing for her Black Friday sale. Like, I kept them in the loop on things, and we did, like, you know, work in progress shots, and I did, you know, live streams, and we had almost this viral little community. So when I said to them, this is the biggest sale that I host all year, and I can barely afford to host it, but I only do it once a year. When I used language like that, it was true, but I was still profiting, and I was profiting a lot. So I think that you have, for those of you who have built these communities, who have a great following, who have an email list, who have a lot of fantastic brand presence, I don't think so much that you are devaluing. And who's going to notice that you're hosting a sale that steep? People who are religiously following you. Otherwise, people aren't even going to notice that your sale is that steep. You know what I mean? They're not going to make that connection so much where they're saying, like, oh, her prices are normally this much, but it's been discounted this much. That's going to be for people who are observing and, you know, looking at your prices frequently enough to know. So again, I think that it really just depends. Every business is going to be a little bit different. But for those of you who do have a viral following, I think that you have a little bit more flexibility, especially if you have a connection with that audience.
I believe said I usually put my links in the first comment
that
for Instagram. It doesn't help because you can't copy and you can't tap on the links, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Instagram, you can't put links anywhere but in your stories with a link sticker, and in your bio.
Karen had said, what about TikTok? Same thing, link in bio.
I'm not sure if they're decreasing visibility or anything from it. But I mean, you've got to give them a link somehow. So that would probably be the only feasible way to do it.
And for those of you who are currently still on TikTok, you've got less than 2 months to start offloading that to somewhere else, because unfortunately January 19th TikTok's gone. So for the US.
Yeah.
For the US, there's not probably a lot you're going to be able to do about it. And I mean, even you could probably use a VPN to access it. However, most of your customers that are watching you aren't going to go through that effort. So got to start transitioning to Instagram or wherever else you feel you need to do that. It sucks, but unless something changes dramatically in the next like 60 days, TikTok's going away, and I wouldn't expect it to. I started saying, you know where to find the link, because I think most people know the links in your bio.
I said that too.
So many people are doing that. I think because it's just kind of part of the culture now. Even if you've never been on Instagram, you've heard people say that.
Right. I always say, go to the place that cannot be said to find the link. I did that on my mom's page.
ManyChat, and at least in my experience, was counterintuitive and buggy, but I love the concept.
It is buggy.
It is very buggy. It feels counterintuitive, and to be completely honest, if you're not someone who has the extra money in your business to be willing to put into that, you'd be better off not.
Or just manually DMing people when they comment a code word.
Yeah, that's the best way to go.
Yeah, it is very buggy. There are several bugs that I am not.
Anna said people in the U.S. won't be able to see TikTok. Yeah, because the U.S. government, for some reason, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that. People who should know better made stupid decisions. I have an item that gets decent views for me and sales. I added several more items to my shop last week, and my good listing had 1 view since then. Any ideas? It's coincidental.
Adding more listings won't take away from the listings that are already doing well. That's probably, you might be reading messages in the alphabet soup, unfortunately. People might just be, holding out for Black Friday right now. You could be seeing a dip because maybe your target demographic in general is holding out to see if there's going to be any sales.
Kimberly said, no, I don't think it's certain. My husband works there. We shall see. No, as of right now, it is officially banned on January 19th. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks about it. It's already written into stone. Unless TikTok sells, that's the only thing. And the owner of TikTok said, we are absolutely not selling TikTok.
Yeah, we've been trying to keep up with it because we know so many of you rely on it.
So unless that's a bluff and they're going to call it, trust me, I wish it wasn't going away. I think it's asinine. I think it's silly. We could just ban you. Okay, again, I'm getting into it. However, as of right now, January 19th, TikTok's going away unless they sell it.
They said I didn't think that passed. It did.
It did. It absolutely did. Yes, I just checked it like 2 minutes ago. So true about low priced items. I do printables. I wouldn't consider a discount of less than 20%. Why would anyone be impressed about a 10% discount on $6? I guess it depends on whether or not you're bundling, because if you get like $26 items, that 20% becomes pretty insane pretty quick.
Who banned it? The U.S. government.
The U.S. government did. For privacy issues, when you could just ban the people from using it that would have those privacy issues. Sorry, we're getting to that point where it started to get into text and not questions that were at the beginning, so I got to search through the questions.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm very worried for my sellers who like rely on TikTok Shop and who have like their whole livelihoods built on TikTok.
They're worried for the privacy of people. Basically, for those of you who don't know, people who say work in the government, work in high level positions, they're worried that it could be something, whether it's listening, which we know cell phones listen when we're not talking, and it's pretty easy to spoof them. And they're also worried about the GPS in particular, because TikTok, when you actually look at what it accesses, it grips onto every single part of your phone. And you could technically use that to track movements of people. But again, we could have just banned people who are sensitive from using it like we already do.
I was going to say, when Mark was in the military, because of his career field, he wasn't allowed to have stuff like, you weren't allowed to have stuff like that.
Yeah, we were, but there's definitely like a, hey, here's some etiquette, but people are stupid.
We weren't allowed to do like
people are stupid, even in the highest level of the government. Some people just get there by pure luck and grit.
Oh yeah, you had some people that I'm like, how did you pass the ASVAB?
Oh man, they filled in the dots and got all the right ones. They won the lottery. Okay, thoughts on Everbee. Do you consider them your own competitor or a complementary service? Well, they're definitely a competitor.
They're absolutely a competitor, but so what can I say? when I started selling on Etsy, I used a tool called SEO Book that bought data one time from Google, and it was Google searches for keywords, and that data never updated. It was just the same, and you had to look. And now I look back at that and thinking about how they bought data one time and had that data available, whereas eRank updates that data every single month. It's like that to me was crazy that I ever relied on static data like that. But when eRank, or at the time it was Etsy Rank, came about, that was like right when I started the Handmade Alphas about 7 years ago. I was amazed, and it was really the first tool I'd ever seen like it. And that's where I started, I used it a lot. I made some tutorials. They're like still on my channel. Oh my God, don't watch them. They're awful. But I made some tutorials on it. And then I ended up getting in communication with Anthony Wolf, the CEO, and we hit it off immediately. And by 2019, I was managing over at eRank. So I don't have experience with other tools, so I can't speak on behalf of them. But what I can tell you is that eRank is an approved Etsy integration. That means that when you go into your integrations tab to the left panel, in your Etsy dashboard, and you click on integrations, we're in there. We were approved by Etsy. We are the most popular Etsy SEO tool by quite a lot. We are the most used. And because of that, we have buttloads of money that we put only into data. It takes a lot of money to purchase data. It is like a
new car every month.
Brand new car every single month amount of money to buy a month's worth of data.
Like a nice car, not like a used Corolla.
I assume, 100% speculation, that because we invest all of our money into data and growth and development and new marketplace data, where we're adding marketplaces, I would assume that we probably have a bit more money to spend based on our user base who is paying us to buy more data. And as I always say, data is not inaccurate as long as it is real. It only becomes more accurate the more it is quantified, because we begin narrowing down on, truth and cutting out speculation. So with that being the case, even if I didn't work for eRank and I didn't have all the behind the scenes knowledge, I would still choose it over the other tools, because logically, if it's the biggest company, they are providing the most. And I do believe that we have the most tools.
And I mean, a bias aside, eRank is it's full of good people. Like they're not people that I wouldn't trust. Like if I didn't know them, they're genuinely good people. Anthony is a wonderful person.
He is. I immediately clicked with him.
Data is his baby.
That's all he does.
That's all he does, is either working on the website, working on ways to find the data, working on better ways to go through the data, working on the algorithm that pools the data. I mean, that's all he does. He doesn't really do a whole lot in his free time. He mostly does this.
Yeah, he loves what he does, and I think that's amazing.
Enough that everyone that works with him has told him, you need to take more time for yourself and stop working so hard on the data.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's a good dude. If you do 25%, does it matter if it's on 3+ items, or is it better to have 25% off one item? Again, it just depends on what you're selling and what you can afford to do.
Yeah, there's no better. There's none. Neither is better than the other.
Maggie said, I'm paying $1 per click. That's a lot. That's a lot. But if you can afford it, why not? If you already offer free shipping, how does that influence your sale percentage off? You mentioned to do 15%. So does this make a difference? Is 20% off a minimum? No, it's not. Again, it's going to be dependent on your product that you sell.
Yeah.
Free shipping is kind of in an addition to that should already be kind of adjusted into your cost.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So then it's just everything about a sale after that.
Right. Hopefully you're factoring, that shipping price into your product price to begin with.
I'm running a couple of experiments with my listings. However, they're all using the same homemade template. That's 50+ listings. Is that off-putting as a buyer to see 50+ of the same template?
I would have to see an example of what you mean.
It sounds like they have 50 plus of the same listing doing experiments.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Do they look, is it like a mock-up template?
Unless I'm misunderstanding you.
Feel free to give some more context there. If I saw something that I couldn't distinguish the listing between other listings, that would be off-putting. If it was a mock-up, though, that wouldn't be as off-putting. I would prefer that I'm not entering a shop with just mock-ups, because that defeats the purpose of a mock-up. A mock-up shouldn't... We don't want our customers to know that they're mock-ups, right? Like, that's the point of a mock-up. It's supposed to look like it's real. And if you use the exact same mock-ups throughout the storefront of your entire shop, it's going to become very obvious very quickly that you're using mock-ups.
Are you on Blue Sky? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to probably...
It can't be worse than Twitter. Good God.
I'm probably going to make an account just because I try to keep up with all the social media accounts. I just haven't had time to yet. But I mean, I probably will. Every time I'm even still on Vero. Do you guys remember Vero? That was supposed to be
such a waste of time.
Oh my God.
I called that from the beginning. It was going to be a waste. And this honestly will probably be the same way, but there's no way to predict that. It could be that it could kick everything away.
A lot of people are on it. So I've been seeing a lot of people on it.
Dude, as long as it doesn't turn into what Twitter and X has become, I don't care, because Twitter is a cancer of a platform.
Yeah, we need positive spaces.
Yes, we do. I'm so sick of the negativity, unfiltered negativity.
I've been spending a lot of time on Pinterest. Pinterest has been nice.
Well, they banned me, so boycott Pinterest.
They banned Marc for no reason.
I've literally never posted anything, and they said that they banned me for posting I think it said inappropriate post.
And you've never posted?
I've never posted, shared, or liked anything. I've literally never done anything other than look at, I think, a single recipe that you sent me that I signed up for, and then I got on like a year later, and they're like, "You're banned," and I've appealed it 3 times, and they've refused me every time.
I need somebody that works at Pinterest.
I don't even like Pinterest. I didn't even. Chances are my account probably got hacked or something, and somebody was using it for some bullcrap. I sell handmade ceramic dishes, all different, and post them separately. Should I post them together in one listing and title it "Surprise Shape Color Dish" or something? That's a lottery thing. You can't do that, right? Because you can't do mystery boxes. Or did they change that?
They did, but post them separately. Post them separately.
For sure. You have a much higher chance.
No, but I don't know very many people that are going to spend a decent amount of money on a handmade dish and not know what they're getting. That's a specific need. Post them separately. And that's more listings. That's more keyword opportunities. That's more opportunities to be found in search. That's like increasing the number of lottery tickets that you're scratching off.
Jessica said Twitter banned me and I never posted it. How do you get banned on Twitter, dude? I have seen beheadings on Twitter. What did you do? What did you do?
I've seen some gross stuff on Twitter.
Twitter's pretty awful. Somebody did say I canceled my Blue Sky. Lots of nudity, and I mean full. Is it bluesky.com? I'm going to check that out later.
I thought you were being serious. I didn't know that you were joking. I was
about to say, Twitter also has full-blown nudity, so if they're trying to be a competitor, that's not really surprising to me.
I can't
and
even...
for platforms that should be 18 plus anyway, I mean...
I can't even open it like if my daughter is around and I don't even follow anybody.
I'm sorry, but let's remove the stigma behind nudity.
Yeah, but
we're born naked.
That you right. I agree, but the things that are on Twitter aren't just
I don't
nudity.
know a single person in my real talk, a single person in my generation that is not super insecure about who they are as a person, and it's because of stigma. So
that's true. That's true.
I'm not going to do any more TikTok stuff. HAA, will it help start promoting on Pinterest? Do you have any videos regarding on posting on that platform?
So, no, because it's an Etsy course. I do have a video here on my channel about Pinterest, though it is a little bit old, but Handmade Alpha Academy is an Etsy course with the benefit of learning a bit of marketing psychology. The good thing about marketing psychology is it can be universally applied to any platform because, you know, the thing that any social media platform is doing is appealing to the human brain. Then you have to take that time to understand formats and objectives of each platform, which we do have a brief analysis of every social media platform. I help you to narrow down on 3 to focus on, with one of them being your primary and then having 2 secondaries. And I teach you a bit of universal marketing psychology that can appeal to all of them. But if you need a Pinterest course, don't join Handmade Alpha Academy because it is not a Pinterest course. That would require its own like whole course. And I'm not that good at Pinterest, I'll be honest. Instagram, I am the best at, but yeah, Pinterest kind of sucks.
Somebody said it's not just nudity, it's minors. See, the thing is, that's
Ooh.
on every single platform. That's even on YouTube. It's something that nobody's ever going to get a fix for. You'll see it less and less as they get their algorithms fixed up.
I think that as AI, that's the thing that AI should be doing.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, you've got to feed AI that, which is a crime in and of itself.
I didn't think about that.
It becomes very difficult. Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
So that was something, I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah,
that was something that Facebook, was it Facebook? There was a platform that did that went into question because they're like, how did you train?
Oh.
It might not have been Facebook. Don't take my word for it, but I know somebody was.
It's always things that you don't consider.
See, the thing is, that's a problem with all new platforms because their algorithms aren't great yet. And they're just like, oh, you liked some kind of nudity. Here's this thing that's illegal.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate, but it's on every platform. You just have to try to look away.
Okay, let's talk about positive stuff now.
Technically wondering, how does a platform get banned in a country? IP. They'll ban any incoming traffic from that at the IP, at the internet service provider level. So they'll tell like Spectrum and AT&T and Verizon that they're not allowed to allow information through into US servers and block it that way. Which is how any website gets blocked. I'm not gonna any more about percentages. We've covered that for sales. We've already covered that many times. Any harm having listings that present the item with colors and variations and having listings that swap that? Excuse me, listing by color, scheme, variant by shape. So having all of the variants and colors in one, and then also have individual listings for the variants and colors.
I think that that's ideal in some scenarios, but not all scenarios. So if you've got, you don't want to make it difficult for customers who come straight to your storefront to shop. So if you have 50 variants of a t-shirt and you're offering 50 different colors and you want to list them all, within that listing as variants, but then list each of the 50 individual ones where the design on the shirt is the same, but they pick the color, that's not ideal. Because again, that's going to be very hard for shoppers to navigate when they actually arrive at your storefront. If it's just a couple, I don't see as much of an issue with it because you can kind of switch and scramble around. But what we don't want to do is have so much that customers are confused. For example, with my jewelry business, when I, sold Handmade, I did all the birthstones for every single necklace where they could pick their birthstone as a variant. But I would have never listed all those necklaces separate, showcasing one stone with the option of the other variants. You know what I mean? It would just be too overwhelming because that's 12 different birthstones.
The Black Friday sale on the back end, leaving the code up active but not advertised. Do you think people will try the code anyway and do backflips because the code still works? Good idea? ?
Sure, I've done that.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, because I've done that where they think like, ooh, they think they're getting away with it, But I actually left my coupon codes up for about a week afterwards. I did the full Cyber Week. But then the actual publicly advertised sales, those I usually cut off because I usually only ship through December 10th. For this business, for the Handmade, we only shipped. Yeah, actually, no, I think it was the 10th. I think it was the 10th that we stopped.
Miss Williams said Etsy is dead. I would like to see your data on that, unless you're accusing Etsy of lying on their financial reports, which would be a crime on Etsy's side.
I was going to say, Etsy's definitely not dead. In fact, we just presented a lot of data at the beginning. So if you've got data to support that Etsy is dead...
Unless you mean Etsy is dead for you, which could very well be true.
Yeah.
Depending on what you sell, how hard you're marketing it, how you've marketed it, and a little bit of luck or lack thereof.
They're definitely not dead. They have millions of buyers. We've got some great data at the beginning.
But I would challenge you for a source on that.
Yeah.
And my source is Etsy's financial report video.
Yeah.
I did a TikTok shop and made one sale with only 5 items in the shop. I haven't had time to work on it since. Yeah. I haven't heard a whole lot about TikTok shop. I've heard some people get successful with it, but I think that's probably more for the
lots of POD people are using it.
Yeah. Does eRank have to buy Etsy's data, or do they buy it from a third party? Etsy does, to my knowledge, not sell data. We buy it from third parties.
Yes. Etsy doesn't give that data to anybody. Anyone who has Etsy search volume data is obtaining that data from third parties. We actually had a presentation yesterday on the eRank channel where Anthony answers this exact question. So if you want to hear it from our CEO, definitely go listen to that. But in short, we collect data from companies who have millions and millions and millions of shoppers who have all allowed them to utilize that data. And it's very similar. Pam Duthie always says it's similar to how TV ratings used to be collected with, a Nielsen box. These are people who have decided that they don't care if, this company observes their shopping habits. And because of that, our data panels are massive so that we can get something that is statistically significant and as close to an average as you can possibly get. And Anthony talked yesterday about like how he couldn't disclose who our data providers are because he signed an NDA. So I'm putting that out there so that nobody asks who, but feel free to go watch on the eRank channel the Q&A that we did yesterday if you want to hear more about it.
With all the eRank updates, why is it that I can't get the eRank extension to work? I even uninstalled and reinstalled it.
That's not you. That's us. We're currently working on it. The team worked on it all day yesterday and all night. They're probably working on it again if it's still not working.
It's still technically kind of a beta product. It's not a finished
result
yet.
It was the rebrand messed it up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
So
they should not be interconnected. They should be individual.
I think
things.
Anthony yesterday said 48 hours. So it should be fixed fairly soon.
Karen said Congress voted and banned it, not just the government. The Congress is quite literally the authority of the government that speaks for the government. So that's the government. Anyway.
You're
please.
challenging government questions with a guy that was in the military, so
yeah,
he's gonna yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, and I'm not going to get into that. We're not going to touch that topic.
Yeah, let's just keep it. Why is the topic so spicy today? Why is it so spicy? Why is it so spicy?
I'm not going to trust a bunch of people who probably barely know how to use their iPhones to vote on things that have to do with tech that they don't use.
Oh yeah,
that's regardless of what political aisle you're on. It's a bunch of people who barely know how to use cell phones voting on things that are on cell phones.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
They haven't made the best decisions in the past.
Oh, I've been on eRank for 18 months. Anytime I get on there, I find something new that helps me target SEO that is worth selling. They're totally data driven.
Aww. You were at Q&A yesterday.
Data's what we love.
Are there any mock-ups of models that we can place jewelry on? You could probably find some on Canva, maybe. I've never really... I don't see a lot of mock-up jewelry models that look good. Unless you're a very skilled editor. I've not seen very many mock-ups that utilize them that are good. So if you're not like super good at Photoshop, it might be better to just take that jewelry and lay it flat on something or actually put it on or have someone else put it on.
Can I recommend someone who specializes in Pinterest for business? Preferably not here. But if people are asking specifically in the Facebook community, I wouldn't mind that. As long as they're data driven and not like hugely controversial. We don't like a lot of controversy.
Lauren Kilgore is that her name? Lauren Kilgore did a blog for us over at eRank a while back on Pinterest that ended up being one of our most popular blogs. Lauren Kilgore. The last I knew, she was like, the one that everybody really loved for Pinterest.
I sell POD. Is it better to separate child and adult sizes as separate listings? I see a lot of sellers buying kid sizes inside one listing and making listings appear cheaper. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. I think you should separate them. It comes off kind of like a loss leader product. It's not the same concept because they're in the same listing, but it kind of feels like that because a lot of people will advertise it like, oh, it's like $5.45, and then they go to the adult version and it's like it's $35.
If the goal there is to deceive, I mean, the goal is to deceive. That's what the goal is. The goal is to get them to click it.
Yours might not be.
Right, your goal, but the goal of that strategy is to deceive. It is to make someone think that they're getting something for one price and then they click it and then they realize that it's more expensive and hoping that they'll buy anyway.
Unless you can tastefully show away in the thumbnail picture that there are both children and adult sizes, which again, super duper hard to pull that off. I would just separate them. Now I could see if you had like thousands of products, if you're one of those people that has just like everything in their POD store, it might be better to not have 2 of all of your listings. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I would separate them, because the thing is, at the end of the day, while some customers won't care that that's what's happening, and some people will buy the products anyway, people that don't like that are not going to know to distinguish you, a nice seller, from someone who is trying to use that as a deceptive product practice to get somebody onto their listing. So I would just avoid doing that.
Here's the thing:
you know
if it feels like sketchy, if it doesn't feel right, I mean, there's a lot of people who make a lot of money doing deceptive things. I know that better than anyone because I'm in the coaching industry, and we all know that there are some crapola coaches out there. I've been getting ads for create a course in 24 hours with our AI course creator. And I'm just like, really?
Anything that feels too good to be true is in fact too good to be true. And while some of these crappy sales tactics might get you upfront money, they are not a tactic for longevity.
Yeah, exactly.
You will kill yourself with longevity, whether that's because an algorithm changes and your entire tactic fails out of that, which is very likely to happen, especially with any of these little algorithm tricks. You don't really see that a lot with Etsy anymore, but there used to be little tricks where people could fool the algorithm and push their stuff a little bit higher, like renewing your listings every day, which no longer works, but people still push that forward. Just don't.
Yeah. If it feels icky, I mean, like I said, that's just me. Our ethics and they might be different. I know I get a lot of heat for that because a lot of people say, well, it works in my shop. Well, if it works in your shop, that's great. But if it feels yucky, I mean, if you want to be
if someone feeds you a sandwich and they tell you it's the best sandwich you've ever had in your entire life, but the whole thing's covered in boogers, it's still a sandwich covered in boogers, and you're gonna regret eating it at some point, right?
Yeah, like
doesn't matter how good it tastes, it's covered in boogers.
Right.
I have someone knocking on the door.
Like really knocking. Holy crap.
A real knock.
Holy crap. Person seen front yard camera. Run, Mark, run. All right, let's see. Mabel the Woodle wanted to say if anyone's questioning HAA or not, do it. Joined June 2023 and can't believe how much I've grown. The course in the Facebook group are fan-freaking-tastic. Mabel the Woodle. Nicole, she's one of my favorites. She started in HA. I always use your story, Nicole. I use her story because it's inspiring. She started like a lot of people, but she had the resilience to actually find the problems in her business and fix them. Whereas a lot of people are so married to a single idea that they're not willing to do the thing they need to do to be successful. And she started out selling, was it just Bunko shirts or did you have other stuff? She was selling Bunko shirts, but she didn't like Bunko. She'd never played Bunko. And in HAA, we talk about like really creating passion and teaching you how to do something that, you know, you're going to be proud of and connecting with your ideal target customer and understanding the psychology of that individual and how to appeal to them. And, you know, she loves her dog. So she made a brand that revolved around her dog. And she started out with POD. And that ended up not doing great, even though she'd done everything that she needed to do. And she had tons of Instagram followers. She wasn't seeing the sales that, you know, she wanted from just the POD. And rather than saying, oh, my POD shop isn't taking off, she pivoted and started incorporating in some handmade products. She started doing vests for dogs. So now she has this shop that's doing well. And she has evolved her brand twice since joining HAA. And she's just my favorite story of resiliency.
I had to sign for my CPU.
Oh, okay.
Any of you tech nerds that follow me on Instagram, keep an eye out. I'm doing a pretty cool computer build.
Okay, next.
Next.
I did Nicole's already.
You did Nicole's already?
I did.
Is there an issue with E-Rank right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there?
Yes, a little. Yeah, we're working on it. There's constantly going to be probably some little bugs that pop up over the next, day or so because we are transitioning everything to our new, branding and website. If you experience a bug, that you think that we might not be aware of. We do know about the extension. So if it's about the extension, we are working on that right now. But if you have a bug pop up, just click the little green, it's now the new eRank logo down in the bottom right corner. That'll open up our support chat. And we currently have 24-hour support right now. So just message the girls, let them know. And then they can make sure that it gets passed on to the development team.
I said, okay, Billy Ray.
He
with my accent, all of my family's from Alabama.
Oh man, no, he actually, when we're around his family, he gets more and more and more. His accent starts to come through.
It does get pretty bad. That is true. Most of my family was in Alabama for a really long time. My uncle was employed by NASA down there, and then the rest of my family either lives or wants to live in Tennessee. So.
Yeah, his dad has a real thick Southern accent.
Do, 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 do. Do, do, do,
oh.
Do, do. Oh, it jumped. Hold on, guys.
All the nice HAA comments.
We got 15.
Oh, that's fine. I've got that video to record today about that eRank report that we did. I'm so excited for you guys to see that data. It's so much data. I couldn't cover it all in the video. There's just too much. I had to just like pick out the highlights. But I'll have the link to the full report because that should be ready by Tuesday for you guys. And I mean, it's very insightful. If you like looking at these numbers and you know, what buyers prefer, like things that they don't like, things that they like, things that they think are important when it comes to their Etsy experience and shopping from sellers. It's a lot different than the previous years.
Are Etsy's profits high because of us, the sellers, from fees, etc., versus actual sales? I can't specifically answer that question.
I think so. If GMS is down,
it's a little bit both.
GMS is down, but Etsy profits are up. They started charging money for new shops to open. I'm going to guess that we are the reason that Etsy overall is making more money.
So my accent does that. I got a strange look from my husband after visiting my family last year. So it turns out there's actually an ADHD trait that I did not know. Because I also do this with people who have a very thick hood accent.
Oh, because I grew up in the hood.
I get pretty hood pretty fast. Yeah. I don't know why, but it turns out it's an ADHD trait. I pick up people's movements and I match and I mask and I do it completely unintentionally. And it's, I recently, I think like a week ago, found out that that's a ADHD trait. So now it actually makes sense.
You get crisper when we talk to Amber too, because Amber's British, and you get crisper.
Yep.
When you, does anybody else with ADHD, do you chameleon like your accents and how you speak?
It's a coping mechanism. Your brain tries to relate.
I really try not to because I don't want people to think I'm like making fun of them, but the Southern accent, I get it because, well, Ohio, we're very Southern in Ohio.
Somebody said they wanted my Instagram account. It's big_Marc M, right?
Yeah.
Big_Marc.
Isn't that called being a chameleon? Yes, being a chameleon.
All right. For who said that they wanted to see that? Denise. I posted my Instagram in the comments there if you guys want to follow. Oh, God, it keeps jumping so bad. Why does it keep doing that? It's because it's a Mac. I shouldn't have bought it. It's betraying me.
I think that we actually got...
No, there were a couple more.
Okay.
Somebody... I hope you speak that way around your family. They wouldn't even bat an eye.
Oh, no, they would... He does it naturally. He starts transitioning into Southern Marc naturally throughout the holiday. Tomorrow, by the end of the night, if he spends enough time with his dad, he's going to be straight Alabama by the end of the night. Like that's just
100%.
Especially if he because we it's like the one time when we drink is on the holidays. I got some wine. He's got his mead, and he's going to have a drink, and Southern Marc is going to come out.
Yep, sure is.
Did you lose him?
Oh, no, because she deleted her comment.
Oh, okay.
She said that she thinks we might be a little bit biased about our opinion because saying that Etsy's profits are like 50% down or something like that. But I mean, their profit video or their
Yeah, but it's still higher than it was pre-pandemic.
It's not down 50%. It's down like a couple. It's not down. Their profits are not down 50%. They're down like a couple percent.
Yeah, I mean, overall, yes, but we're still doing better than the pandemic traffic. It's definitely down, but dead isn't really. When you say dead, I'm assuming that it's like you stating that like Etsy is done for, and that's definitely not the case. Especially with the advertising efforts that Etsy's put forward. And if you missed the beginning of the stream, I mean, definitely look at the data from last year and the year before last on Black Friday. I think that we're going to see what's going to feel like an even bigger spike because the rest of the year is going to be so flat. When we get the data for Black Friday this year, I think it's going to look even more dramatic than the last 2 years simply because the rest of the year has been so flat.
If you guys have any more questions, you'll need to get those in. Otherwise, we will have to cut the stream early.
Well, while we're waiting for those, guys, my coaching program opens on December 1st. I don't talk about it enough. Handmade Alpha Academy. It is a 9-module self-paced coaching program. You get 12 months of eRank Pro with that. You get Christina Nicole's Product Photography Essentials Workshop. That is $297 on its own, and you get that for free. eRank, that's $120 on its own. You get that for free. And you get annual access to our Alpha Holiday Boot Camps. Those are anywhere from $60 to $120, depending on when you enroll. And you get those annually for free forever. So, I mean, that's already over $500, not counting the fact that you get the annual access, which is $120, per year that you're in HAA that you're saving. The program is completely self-paced. If you decide that you don't want to actually start in December, that's fine. You can start in January if you want. A lot of people do it as like a New Year's resolution thing. We just only open enrollment for 10 days. So it's going to be the 1st through the 10th because Mark and I are only 2 people and we do all the customer support and all the student support on our own. We have a little help from Michelle now, but in terms of like the coaching support, that's just me. So we can't have too many in at the same time. There is no limit for how many can get in during that time, but you have to get in that 10-day window. And it never fails. We always get an email right after midnight from somebody upset because they didn't get in. And I'm like,
I'm usually nice about it, but if I'm asleep, you're out of luck.
It's like, it's 10 days. You had 10 days.
I know. I'll have people message me at like 1:30 in the morning. They're like, I had the page open. And I'm like, well, then you're too indecisive.
Well, if you had the page open, that doesn't mean we got to close it down sometime.
Right. I can't just leave it open.
But anyway, if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to let me know. We've only got, 2 weeks?
I'm actually posting the link if you guys want to sign up for the list for that. Join HAA does work. I just checked it twice.
Oh, okay.
In incognito and regular. Your computer stores cookies, which is why it still doesn't work for you.
Oh, okay.
Someone said I had a phone call. They said that my dad was a lifer at NASA. My uncle was the man who invented he was an engineer. He invented the navigation system that went on the first ship that went to the moon. Or that attempted to go to the moon. And his daughter, she might still work for the DoD, but she actually invented the targeting systems that went in the modern versions of our tanks. They're cool. I don't really talk to that side of my family, but they're pretty cool.
They sound like family we should talk to.
My accent does that. I got a strange look from my husband. See, the thing is, I didn't know. I mean, if you really look up like all of the different symptoms that ADHD actually has, it's not like just being distracted. There's all kind of weird, like there's a lot of similarities between ADHD and autism that they're starting to like link together and see that the behaviors, while not as extreme, are very similar in a lot of ways. But it does depend on the severity of your ADHD too.
I was almost going to give up on selling when I failed and joined HA. Go back down. I'm reading that. It's absolutely saved me and been worth every darn penny. Wait, who are you? You're just
Who is you? If you don't mind, you don't.
You don't have to
dox yourself.
You don't have to tell us. But I appreciate you. Everybody agrees with the accents.
I didn't know I had ADHD either. I just thought I was dumb, and that's not a rip. I genuinely just thought I had a problem with concentrating.
I think most kids with ADHD think that, especially our generation where it was really stigmatized.
No, I'm glad it's becoming more well known and that like a huge quantity of adults have it.
Right. We're able to use like language now to like let each other know how we're feeling, and it's nice. I don't know what the conversation with Bluey and Cocomelon is, but
I don't know.
Why big?
Why big? I was a bodybuilder for several years. I was trained by Mr. Olympia for almost a year. I was on a team with him.
Emily said, I didn't know adults can have ADHD. I guarantee you
I didn't know that I had ADHD until my mom told me that I was diagnosed as a teenager and never told me.
How about everybody in the chat who has ADHD, who's been diagnosed with it? Put a heart in the chat.
Put a wolf and a question mark in the chat.
What?
What'd you say?
ADHD? What?
Spiced mead is so good. Dude, I have so much mead, it's not even funny. I buy more every year and then I don't drink it all, and I've just got a box of it. I'm worried that I'll accidentally offend someone eventually. Nah. Most people are flattered.
Let's see.
There
we go. If
I'm coming up on my 12 months after joining HAA, do I need to email y'all to swap my billing over? Will that happen automatically? No. When your plan is canceled, you'll basically just have to re-sign up.
Yep.
Essentially, you'll have your account and everything. You just need to re-sign up for a plan.
We do save your data. There will so apparently a couple of our students encountered an issue a couple years ago where their data wasn't saved. Anthony, I did bring this up during my last meeting with him, and he did confirm that whatever issue was happening a couple years ago that Alphas just brought to my attention like last month, apparently that was fixed a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So data should be saved. Look at all
these people.
Look at all of you.
Look at all these people stimming while trying to watch our video.
We verbally stim in our house.
Somebody said they started 5-ACE for their ADHD. Never done any actual medications because any medications that I've tried make me feel like I could run 1.5 miles in about 3 seconds. So I don't do that.
The highlighted one. Scroll back down.
High dose CBD works for me. Which one?
You highlighted it.
Did
yeah.
I? I've been watching you guys for years.
Above.
Your infos. We already answered that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Look at this woman.
Sorry, I thought it was a question. The chat's going so fast because we asked for all of our ADHDers, and
they're stimming, dude. They're stimming out.
They're stimming out.
They're stimming out.
That's our daughter. She also has ADHD.
We stim around the house. That's just how it is.
And when we learned about verbally stimming, we're like, oh, there's a word for that thing. That
yeah, I just thought everybody made random noises to acknowledge each other for no reason.
We'll just start screaming, like we'll just and we'll just go back and forth, all in different rooms of the house. But I'll hear him down here and yelling, and then I'll start yelling. She'll start yelling. I thought that's something that everybody did.
We're learning all kinds of things on the Black Friday Lifeline.
We are.
A lot of people have ADHD.
We're learning all the things.
I think it's a lot more common, and I think I'm not going to speculate too much, but I think it goes back to processed foods, to be honest with you.
Emily, HAA moved my shop from $8K annually before I started in 2018 to multiple 6 figures this year. The best investment I've made for my Etsy business. I love you, Emily.
Etsy's dead, though. How are you doing that when Etsy's dead?
Yeah, Etsy's dead, Emily. What are you doing?
Denise said, I literally just figured out last week that I'm actually autistic and not just ADHD and PTSD.
We all need to go to our doctors.
I mean, for real, if you think that you have something going on with the whole brain thing, guys, go get a diagnosis. Go get it checked out, because once you figure out how to control the urges that your brain are doing,
you're aware of it, right?
Yeah, awareness makes a huge difference for like day to day. And some of you that are like, I literally can't use a planner. Me either. You have to find what works for your brain, and if you might have something wrong with you.
We've been using the Finch app. That way, every time we do a chore, we get to buy our little bird an outfit. It's been great. I love Finch.
We love you guys. Okay, whoa, jumping again. We still got about 2 minutes. I want to try to find one more. I don't think we have anymore. I saw in the new area my Etsy listings. Above the title is about. How is this different from the description? Above the title, it is about. How is this different from the description? I don't understand what you're saying.
You said it's something new? I was just listing things yesterday.
But it doesn't necessarily mean you were looking for what they're talking about.
We'll just
Can I just get a gift? I know, it's like, hey, check this category and this thing.
About? Is it in your listing editor?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
It must be within a listing editor. Well, I'm listing things tonight, so I'll take a look. Okay. Well, I'll take a look tonight when I list. I've got 6 listings I got to get up tonight. All right. Anything else?
I cannot keep any family members on a conversation topic.
Look at that bird.
Yeah.
That's how our daughter is. Love her to death, but she knows. So we'll just be like, Taylor, honey, you're ADHDing out. And she's just like, oh, yeah.
Is it really ADHD, or is it just our survival instincts trying to kick in and there's absolutely nothing for it to focus on? So we just...
That's true. Our brains
stare at the wall.
Our brains are meant to analyze, to look for danger and threats, to listen for sounds that could be hazardous to ours. So it could just be survival instincts that we no longer need because
which is why it's not cool to call it an attention deficiency, when in reality we have too much attention, and that's truly the problem.
You just don't know where to put it.
It's not a lack of, it's just we're concentrating on everything at all times at the same time.
Right.
What's the percent of sellers doing well though? 1%? I don't know. What's the percent of Amazon sellers
define doing well? Miss Williams, if you head over to erank.com and you go into the top sellers report, I mean, I'm sure that that tool's going to give you the top 100 sellers for every single category on Etsy, and those are just the top 100, and those are sellers who are making like over $1 million. So there's no real way for us to give you an answer to that, because your definition of doing well might be different than anybody else's. That's a bit of a subjective parameter. But there are plenty of people here in the chat who have already said that, that they're doing well. If you post in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, there's people doing well. Saying nobody's doing good is a way to close yourself into the possibilities of learning so you can do better. That's like saying, oh, I'll never be successful here. Well, that's not necessarily true, especially if you've got that mindset. If you say that Etsy is dead, then Etsy will be dead. You have to say, you have to look at how many people are shopping on the platform. Clearly, Etsy's not dead. There are people here right now who are talking about how much money they make. There are people in our Facebook group talking about how much money they make. You can go to eRank right now and look at the top 100 people in every category who are making, you can see their sales numbers per day.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you yet.
Right.
Like, it could be you in the future once you get better at photographing your products and putting your products in front of people and doing social media and communicating with customers and building that repetition that eventually builds the successful business. Very, very, very few people start out in business and then immediately skyrocket to the top. We've seen it happen, but the majority of the people here, you can see, I mean, like Jennifer here, I used to make around $600. She's speaking about HAA, but I made all my goals this year at over $10,000 since August. So something that she was doing was missing.
Right.
There was something, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need to buy our course. Our course isn't an end-all be-all, and it's even in our terms that it absolutely is not an end-all be-all, but there's probably something that you're missing, doing wrong, not been doing it long enough. Like, there's a million in one factors. Yeah, but you're being a negative Nancy. Like, I can see your comments, and all you're doing is making it worse for yourself.
Yeah.
If you want Etsy to be dead, then just get off of Etsy. It's more money for the rest of us.
It's not that we want you to do good, but you have to see the number of buyers that are currently on the platform and see every single buyer as a possibility. And even we talked about Nicole a little bit ago. Nicole went through 2 different products that weren't doing well, and she had done everything else. Her branding was perfect. Her social media marketing was perfect. She had a ton of followers, but her products weren't selling. And now, she has adapted and moved forward and experimented and tried new things. And some people, I think that they hit this point where they feel like they've tried everything, but I promise you haven't, because there's an unlimited number of things that you can try. And sometimes it's the product itself. Sometimes you have to understand that maybe what you're selling is oversaturated, or maybe, there's somebody who's already dominating that market, or maybe there's something missing that will define your niche just a little bit more. So it's hitting a more direct target rather than, hitting a broad spectrum of people. There are so many things. And I understand if you're exhausted, if you're tired, if you've put your all in for several years and it's not working.
Maybe it's not for you.
Right. And I get that. I get that it can be exhausting, but it doesn't represent the majority. And here on my channel, when the thing that we focus on is what can be proven and the data and the numbers, and we do all of this research, about the data and the numbers, and we come here with graphs and charts and we run major buyer surveys to try to better understand behavior. Blanket statements about the deadness of Etsy with no evidence to support that. When we say, yes, Etsy's doing worse, but we can also compare it to years before the pandemic where it's doing better overall, you're just hearing a lot more people talking about how it's not doing as well because millions of sellers have joined just in that last 2 years. But it doesn't mean that the platform itself is not doing well.
And it absolutely is harder than it used to be. We don't deny that it's harder than it used to be. Absolutely. But so is every platform everywhere, because everybody's looking for a way to make an amount of money that they can live on. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for everybody everywhere. And eventually it's either going to get good or it won't get good. But that's not necessarily reflective of your own experience. You know what I mean?
Right. So. And I've always said that, like, surround yourself with people who are doing better than you,
including yourself. Get good up here.
Right. Surround yourself with people who are doing better than you, because you know who's not going to help you grow is people who are doing worse than you. Surround yourself, and this goes for your day-to-day as well, with your friend groups, with the groups that you spend time on Facebook. We try to make a great community, through the Handmade Alpha Facebook community, where people can find knowledgeable individuals who are making a lot of money on Etsy and who are willing to lend their expertise. Surround yourself with these individuals who are doing well in these different areas, whether it be social media, whether it be marketing, whether it be your day-to-day life. Because if you don't surround yourself with these people who are doing better, or if you have this mindset where you can only be envious and not soak in, I can learn from anyone, even if I don't like the person. I don't particularly care for Elon Musk, but I'm sure that he's a very smart person and probably has good advice, you can learn a little something from everyone, even if that thing is how not to do the thing that they're doing. You can learn something from everyone. So here on my channel, what we really try to encourage is staying positive, using data to guide your decision making, not just, using blanket statements to cover difficult topics. We need to lift that blanket and look at those difficult topics and figure out where they need to go and try to figure out the rhyme or reason if there's, data to support it. But we love you guys, and there aren't a lot of positive spaces.
No, this is one. We try to maintain this as one. Please
understand that sometimes, Mark and I do dish out tough love, and it's because we love you and we respect you, and we want you to think outside the box. Because I tell you what, I understand the sellers who are having a hard time, but I also have a lot of people in my, life and that I follow on social media and their businesses who fall into this state of like, I will never do better. I will never do better. I will never do better. It'll always be bad. Everything sucks. Everything's bad. And those people never grow. And it's the people who know that growth is possible, and they have a little bit of trust in their wings, that, they're willing to take big leaps off of branches with the faith that their wings are going to be able to keep them afloat. And yes, it is hard. It's challenging, but there is no end to what you can learn. Libraries are free. That's how I didn't go to college. Did you guys know that? I speak at colleges and I never went to college. I go to colleges. I go to schools. I'm going to be going to my high school and teaching their seniors, and I didn't go to college. Everything that I learned was from library books that I went and rented for free, and from reading through MIT case studies. I mean, really, it's insane the possibilities that we have, especially now that we've got the internet. Or if you can't go to a library, you can get something like the Libby app so that you can get library books virtually. Like there is no end to what you can learn and what you can do with that information. It's just, time constraints is the only thing. So
you just got to pick where you put your energy into. Start listening to people who are positive, delete people who are negative constantly.
Right.
And start listening to people who the internet is full of people who are like, I'm better than you, I'm cool, which is fine. But you need to find the people that are like, I'm better and more successful than you, but I want you to be up here with me.
Exactly.
Those are, because you don't want to listen to somebody who's successful, who's like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk to anybody. I'm not gonna tell anybody how I do things. Listen to people who are better than you. Listen to people who are more successful than you, but who have a positive message of wanting other people to share in that success, and not like in a scammy, make money quick kind of way, but people who want to watch you grow.
Mentors.
Yeah, and get good mentors.
And even, I mean, one of my favorite mentors is dead. He wrote a book in the 30s. Dale Carnegie. He's one of my favorite mentors. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
There you go. They said, maybe you're right. It's just time for me to leave Etsy and try new ventures. She said that she had like 25,000 sales, and then in October it died. I'm assuming that if you've made that many sales, you've built up an email list, you probably have a following off of the platform. Start selling on your own website and directing your traffic directly to yourself.
Yeah.
Or continue trying to optimize Etsy in whatever way you can do. They're not individual things, like, right? You can do them both. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, look forward and write it out through the holiday season. We just presented a lot of data, if you didn't watch the beginning, about how Black Friday is the highest volume traffic day on Etsy in general. And with that many sales, you probably have some decent customer and marketplace experience score and a decent listing quality scores. So hopefully you're at least ranking, in search pages. It just might not be a good season for your product. That happens. Sometimes seasonality of a product can tank it for a couple months, but yeah.
And it could be a change. Could also be a boost in an industry where a bunch of people signed up and are selling the thing that you're selling and are just pushing it heavier than you are, putting more money into it. I mean, you never know. It could be any number of reasons.
Right. But, and I'm not one of those people who's going to tell you, like, join HAA. Like, I've got the magic solution. Like, obviously it's an option, but if you're not in the position to spend, $1,000 on a program like that, definitely utilize the library. Definitely utilize YouTube. Definitely utilize, I've got 608 videos on my channel. I mean, I do this every single week. Like, utilize the things that are available to you because they're right at your fingertips. I mean, the internet has made learning so accessible, and it's my favorite thing in the world. And it's exactly what I talk to seniors about when I go talk at, my high school. I talk about how they have so many opportunities that our generation didn't have today.
The internet is literally infinite.
Exactly.
For now.
But all of you guys talking about the campus. We're doing a Secret Santa in the student campus right now for our students, where they're buying each other gifts, and it's magical. 160 something people, and there's only one person that hasn't checked their email about Secret Santa. So I know.
Stinker.
I know.
But at the end of the day, we just want you guys to be positive and happy. Like, money isn't the end of the world. I know we all need money to survive, and it's very privileged to be able to say something like that. But having had money, having had literally negative money, like tens of thousands of dollars in debt, sleeping on the floor on a futon when she was like 3, 4, 5 months pregnant, like, we've been there. Money isn't the end all be all. At the end of the day, no matter how much money you have, if your mental isn't in the right place, then you're not in the right place. Doesn't matter how much money you make. And the sicker you are up here and the more money you make on top of that, the sicker you're going to get.
That's true.
100% the sicker you're going to get. Your addictions are going to get worse.
We see that.
Your traits are going to get worse. You're going to become a toxic person. You have to work that mental into a better place.
Exactly.
I've been there. I was a military intelligence analyst. I've seen a lot of nasty things, and it made me a nasty person. And it's not easy to fix, but it starts with a step. You got to love yourself first.
Yep, there's, if you go back and you were a different person when we started doing these live streams because you were recovering from something and dealing with some mental
trauma.
Yeah,
trauma is what it is.
But you'll be a happier person, and you find out that there's like a whole world out there. Literally anything you want to do. If you want to learn how to do something, it is literally there for you, no matter what it is. If you wanted to quit doing Etsy and become a dog groomer, you could figure it out. There's resources.
There was a woman who made herself famous selling her farts in jars. Like, you can literally do whatever you want.
There's the moose poop lady.
There's the moose poop lady.
She makes like resin coated moose poop. Like, there's everything.
You can find something. If your current thing isn't working, move on to another thing. But that's all the time we got time for.
We should do Secret Santa every year. I want to. This year, everybody's behaved. The first time we tried to do it, like first year of HAA, it was such a mess. I had to send so many gifts to people.
Yeah.
But
and I don't mind doing a couple, but I don't want to go send like 40 different gifts out myself.
But guys, in 1 week, we will be here for Black Friday to spend the busiest Etsy shopping day of the whole year with you with my annual Brand Planet webinar. That's my favorite webinar. That's the one that I presented at Raw Artist Festival, Fest, whatever, in front of 1,200 people. So definitely come hang out for that one. Yes. It's my favorite webinar. I really do enjoy that one. Oh, I appreciate you.
Someone said it was Amaranth that did that. I believe there was somebody before her, and she ate so many beans and stuff that she ended up having to be hospitalized. Anyway, what a weird conversation we're having.
I appreciate you all. Watch this outro about Handmade Alpha Academy. That's opening December 1st. Oh, by the way, there's a 30-day no questions asked money back guarantee.
We always forget to mention that. We will literally give you your money back as long as you're nice.
Yeah, be nice. Say, hey, refund.
Within 30 days, all you got to do is say refund. You don't have to say, I prefer if you say why. That way we can like
do better.
Improve. We like to improve like any other business. But if not, you don't like it, there's literally no risk to you. And we've never had to fight with anybody. As long as you're nice.
No, everybody's always been nice.
Yep.
It's always been nice.
That's it.
Stay nice.
We love you guys. Stay nice. Work on your mental health. For those of you celebrating the holidays early this week, like we are, be safe. Don't drink and drive.
We won't see them again until after Thanksgiving anyway. So happy Thanksgiving.
Are we not streaming on Black Friday?
We are, but that's the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
So
be safe on your Thanksgiving. Please don't drink and drive. You're not better at it the more you do it. I promise that's not how that works.
Be safe.
And we will see you guys on Black Friday.
Bye.
Bye.
I have become a better person through HAA.
What I really like about Starla is her honesty and transparency. There's so much that she gives to people for free.
I'm like, this is an incredible framework for me to build into and adjust to and adapt to, and all these things that I would have never been able to figure out on my own.
I was like reinvigorated about my business when I started HAA.
Our armor was featured in Lucifer season 5 finale, and the main actor got to wear things that we created here. Part of the reason why we were able and ready to do such a thing was because of the alphas.
Joining Etsy, joining any online platform, you have question after question after question. HAA has been the one place where I've got answers for nearly all my questions.
You guys and what you have done with the Handmade Alpha Academy has literally changed my life.
And you get continued help no matter where you're at in your Etsy journey. That was probably the biggest selling point for me.
The way you teach it, it's simple, it's down to earth. I can comprehend it. That's one of the things I love about your teaching style.
I don't think I ever could have done it without being in the HAA. Your step-by-step steps were fantastic.
I don't know how you could not succeed by following the step-by-step really instruction of how you lead us through HAA.
The first like 4+ years that I was on Etsy, I think I had 37 sales, and we've gotten well over 1,000 since then. I think I'm up to 1,200.
Self-paced, there's an amazing Facebook group that will help you.
Invest in yourself. It's worth every penny and so much more.
I look at my Etsy shop and I look at my website and I am just in awe of what I have done. And I just look at it every day and think, wow.
I actually think that for what you get, you guys are really, really not charging enough. I hate to say that.
I've had thoughts to myself where I've been like, I'd give you guys $3,000 for this course. I see how valuable it is.
2020, I did like maybe $3,000. 2021, I did $10,000. HAA for me paid back for itself 6 weeks after I signed up for it.
I definitely recommend it. If you can invest the money, the time investment is not too bad.
Well worth the money. There is nothing in all that I've taken that I haven't been able to use for my business.
Absolutely, just do it, because there's no, what do you have to lose? And it's everything you need in one place.
It's hard to buy an education that will teach you practical skills like we learn in HAA.
Take the plunge, do it. First off, the money back guarantee is really a selling point for me.
She knows so much about marketing and branding and the psychology behind it. So that's really good knowledge to have, and she's so willing to share that.
So I would tell everybody out there that's thinking about it, if you're ready for this step and if you're ready to grow yourself and your business, it changed our lives, honestly.